Hey, I'm Tom. It is July 30th, 2025, and I am 49 years and 47 days old. I think I was around 7 when I had this thought. I was 7 or 8, that range, 6, 7, or 8. And I remember looking around at the examples of relationships around me, like my parents, who I love and are wonderful people, at older people that I knew, at stuff on TV. Maybe I'd seen someone in a movie by then. And I remember thinking very distinctly, why do we do this like this? Why do we have these relationships? I couldn't figure out what the point was. And I was a kid, obviously, and so I was lacking a lot of context. But even as a kid, it seemed to me that everyone was really unhappy. Designed this coupling, and it didn't make anyone happy, as far as I could tell. Even the happy people in television seemed unhappy, or at the very least, we got a lot of mileage out of talking about how unhappy we were. Like that just seemed to be the majority of the representation. This was the 80s, so I also definitely didn't see any queer representation, very little non-white couples happening. I just couldn't work out why we were doing it that way. I got older. I started having relationships, and it seems to me that I never got an answer to that question. There was never a moment where I was like, "Oh, this is why we do this. This is why we have couples. We have couples because I had a lot of evidence that I was queer, but I didn't identify as queer until much later on in my life. And so I didn't look for other examples, any alternative to what seemed to be and was being fed to me as this is the dominant way you're supposed to be with another person. And so when things started to pop up, like on podcasts and blog posts, about how one problem with our relationships is that we put everything onto one person and you shouldn't do that, that immediately made sense to me. And yeah, as a person who's been divorced twice, it probably had a bit more resonance. Now, this probably sounds like I think that we should be doing it some other way, but I don't, because I have no evidence that any other way is better, which I guess maybe answers the question. It's like, well, this is the way we have, and we've had it for, I guess, millennia. So unless someone comes along and really shows that a different method or different model works, we're going to stick with this one. We'll play around with it. We'll play in the space, but it's still largely two people. And that's just fascinating to me. I know this sounds like a conversation you have when you're like, it's 3 a.m. and you're high. But it's 11 p.m. and I'm completely sober.